In Hillsborough County, your tap water is more than just convenient. It's safe, trusted, and affordable. Every drop is monitored 24 hours a day and tested regularly to meet strict state and federal standards, so you can trust what's coming out of your tap. Skip the plastic water bottles and go with tap. That way, you're choosing sustainability and savings. Hillsborough County Water Resources is proud to deliver quality on tap. For helpful tips and for more information, visit hcfl.gov/qualityontap.
Good evening. If you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please have a seat. Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to...
Can you turn your mic on, please? Sorry.
Yes.
Your mic?
Can you hear it? It's on? You hear it now? You good? Okay, all right. It's the clerk's office and she has to hear us, so otherwise it doesn't count. All right, let me start over. So good evening. Welcome to the September 15th, 2025 Zoning Hearing Master hearing. My name is Susan Finch, and I'll be presiding as the hearing master over tonight's cases. Let me start by introducing Ms. Michelle Heinrich. She's with the Development Services Department, and she will introduce other staff members as well as go over any off-the-agenda changes we have tonight. Ms. Heinrich.
Sure. Again, Michelle Heinrich with Development Services. With the County Attorney's Office, to my left, we have Mary Dorman. And with the Planning Commission, we have Tyreek Royal. And with Transportation Review and Development Services, we have Richard Perez. And we do not have any unpublished changes to announce tonight.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me start by going over our procedures for tonight's hearing. Our hearing today consists of agenda items that require a public hearing by a zoning hearing master. I'll conduct a hearing on each agenda item and will file a recommendation within 15 business days following tonight's hearing. Those recommendations are then sent to the Board of County Commissioners, who will make the final decision. Our hearing tonight is informal. I'll ask questions related to the scope of direct testimony. I may call and question witnesses as I deem appropriate, and I will decide all questions of procedure. I'll take evidence, but will exclude evidence that is irrelevant, immaterial, or unduly repetitious. Evidence may be presented in written form, and all testimony must be under oath. Hearsay evidence may be used to supplement or explain other evidence, but shall not be sufficient alone to support a finding by me unless it would be admissible over objections in a civil action. Our order of presentation tonight is as follows. Ms. Heinrich of the Development Services Department will make a brief introduction of each agenda item. Next, we go to the applicant. The applicant and their witnesses have 15 minutes total to make their presentation. Then we go back to the Development Services staff planner that was assigned the case, and they will have 5 minutes to go over the county staff report. And next, we then go to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission also has 5 minutes to report on their findings of consistency with the county's comprehensive plan. Next up, proponents. Anyone who would like to speak in favor of an application, everyone together 15 minutes. Also true next when we go to opponents. Anyone who would like to speak against an application, everyone all together 15 minutes. We'll circle back to the Development Services Department to see if they have any changes or comments based on tonight's findings. And then finally, the applicant has the last word. The applicant has 5 minutes for rebuttal before we close the hearing. I don't think we'll have this evening, but I will say if you are here in the room or online to speak in favor or against an application, I will ask for a show of hands. We will count how many, and we will divide that 15 minutes as equally as we can to give everyone a fair opportunity. When you're speaking, if you're in the room or online, if you, when you're at the microphone, if you could please give us your name and address for the record. We are recording this hearing, and we want to make sure that we have your information correct. If you are in the room and you're done at the podium, if you could see Jennifer. Jennifer, raise your hand. She's with the clerk's office, and she is also keeping a written log on the top of the dais. And so if you could please sign in with your name, address, and the case number to which you spoke, just to make sure we have it all correct. All right, so with that, let me now turn to the County Attorney, Ms. Dorman, and she will provide you the legal requirements which govern your participation at the Board of County Commissioners meeting. Ms. Dorman.
Mary Dorman from the County Attorney's Office. Tonight's public hearing is the first step of a two-step rezoning process. This hearing is the time for rezoning applicants and interested parties to present evidence and testimony. Any evidence presented tonight will become part of the complete factual record of each application, and no additional evidence can be introduced after the closing of each application. The second step of the rezoning process is a public meeting before the Board of County Commissioners, where the board will make a decision on each application heard tonight. Tonight's applications are scheduled to be heard by the board at its November 12th, 2025 land use meeting, unless a different date is stated by staff. When considering applications, the board will only review the record and the recommendation made by the land use hearing officer for each application. The land use hearing officer will file a recommendation for each application heard tonight on October 6, 2025. The Board of County Commissioners has established a policy that directs which rezoning and major modification applications are to be placed on the consent agenda of the board's land use meeting. The following applications may not be placed on the consent agenda: applications that propose to add density outside the urban service area, applications on roadways with a failing level of service, applications that do not have consistent recommendations of approval or denial, and applications that have evidence or testimony provided to the record by non-applicant parties of record, either prior to or at tonight's public hearing. The board will allow testimony by any party of record at its public meeting to consider the land use hearing officer's recommendation for any item on the regular agenda. Testimony by a party of record shall be limited to the record of the proceedings before the land use hearing officer unless additional evidence has been found admissible in accordance with Section 10.03.04D of the Land Development Code. A party of record is an individual who fits into at least one of the following four categories. First, someone who is present tonight and presents testimony or documentary evidence. Second, someone who's been certified by the U.S. Postal Service as having been mailed notice of tonight's hearing. Third, someone who submitted documentary evidence into the master file at least 2 business days prior to tonight's hearing. Or fourth, someone who submitted documentary evidence by proxy at tonight's hearing. The content of oral argument before the board shall be limited to the content of the testimony and other evidence submitted verbally or in writing to the land use hearing officer. It is the role of the county attorney's office to ensure that only individuals who have met these requirements are allowed to speak before the board and to ensure that no new evidence or testimony is introduced or allowed at the board's public meeting. For these reasons, please make sure that all information you wish the board to consider at its public meeting is entered into tonight's record.
Thank you, Ms. Dorman. I appreciate it. As I said, all testimony must be under oath. So if you plan to speak tonight, if you could please stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please have a seat. All right, then with that, Ms. Heinrich, we are ready to call the first case.
Our first item is item C1. The applicant is requesting to rezone property from ASC1 to CNR. The application number is 25-0435. Michelle Montalbano will present staff findings after the applicant's presentation.
All right, is the applicant here? Good evening. If you could please come forward and start by giving us your name and address. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Christian Guevara. Address is 10350 Celtic Ash Drive, Ruskin, Florida 33573.
All right, if you could just tell us a little bit about your request for rezoning.
So I'm going to just talk a little bit of the highlights of the rezoning. So we're trying to rezone our land. I'm representing myself and my wife from ASC1 to commercial neighborhood. There are some uses that were prohibited, and we are in agreement with those. Convenience stores with or without gas stations, car washes, motor vehicle repair, freestanding emergency room, banquet, reception hall, all drive-through uses. We're in agreement with having those limited. We're not going to do that. So the location is on 6th Street, just right next to the Ruskin Park. I don't remember the name of the park. It's on 6th Street. So let me see. So the subject property is located within the SMU 6 future land use category in Ruskin Community Plan, Area 3 South Ruskin. Residential, suburban scale neighborhood commercial uses are permitted within that SMU category. So the proposed development of the property will comply with LDC 6.06.06A2, requiring following buffers: 30-foot buffer, type C screening along the 6th Street, and 20-foot buffer from the south property, which is the park. Pretty much that's what I have.
Okay.
now.
I didn't have any further questions. I appreciate it. If you could please sign in with the clerk's office. Development Services. Good evening.
Good evening, Michelle Morales, Development Services. The applicant is requesting to rezone property from ASC1 to CN with restrictions. The property is located in the Ruskin area just south of East College Avenue. The surrounding area is occupied by institutional uses, single-family or duplex residential uses, and vacant land zone BPO. The applicant has proposed to restrict several of the more intense uses allowed in the CN district. The prohibited uses make the proposed CN district compatible with the nearby BPO zoning districts and institutional uses in the vicinity. Therefore, staff finds the rezoning request approvable subject to the proposed conditions. I'm available if you have any questions.
None at this time, but thank you so much. Planning Commission.
Good evening, Terry Crowell, Planning Commission staff. The subject site is an urban service area where, according to Objective 1.1 of the Future Land Use section, 80% of the county's growth is to be directed. Policy 3.1.3 requires all new developments to be compatible with the surrounding area. Vacant land is currently on the subject site, as well as to the north and west across the CSX transportation right-of-way. Light commercial uses are also to the north across the right-of-way. Public, quasi-public institutions are to the south and east of the subject site. The proposal meets the intent of FLU Objective 1.1 and FLU Policy 3.1.3 based upon the surrounding development pattern. According to FLU Policy 4.7.4, when planning the location of new non-residential developments at intersections meeting locational criteria or transition of intensity and non-residential uses shall be established, which is compatible with the surrounding character. Burdette Park is directly south of the property. There are agricultural uses to the east of the subject site, which will provide gradual transitions between the different land uses to the proposed CN use. Based upon those considerations, Planning Commission staff finds the proposed rezoning consistent with the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan, subject to the proposed restrictions. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. This time we'll call for anyone who would like to speak in favor. Anyone in support, either in the room or online. All right. Seeing no one. Anyone in opposition to this request? No one. Ms. Heinrich, anything further?
No, ma'am.
All right. Sir, you have the last word if you'd like it, but you don't have to take it. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Then with that, we'll close rezoning 25-0435 and go to the next case.
Our next item is item C2, standard rezoning 25-1143. The applicant is requesting to rezone property from CN to CG. Sierra James with Development Services will present staff findings after the applicant's presentation.
All right. Good evening.
Good evening, Cammie Corbett with the law firm of Hill, Ward & Henderson. Subject property is located on Brandon Boulevard in the heart of Brandon. This is the property. It was a Steak and Shake. That location is no longer in operation, and we're requesting to rezone the property from CN to CG. This is the surrounding area to the west. You can see all of the commercial activity along Brandon Boulevard. This is to the east and south. Again, there's a Taco Bell right across the street, a Boston Market on the south side. And then to the north, the one thing about this parcel that's different than the CG parcel at the other end of the block is it does not directly abut residential development. That is a Hillsborough County drainage pond and a drainage area, and the top picture is sort of an image of that, and then you can see on the property appraiser's map, or the zoning map here, that this would be CG on this end at the intersection and CG on the other end for this particular block. This has been planned for urban development. It's shown in the urban general location of the Brandon Community Plan, as well as in the State Road 60 Overlay District. So it's been identified as urban for quite some time, and that's where it's appropriate to have commercial general uses. Planning Commission finds it consistent. Development Services finds it approvable, and with that, we'd respectfully request your approval, and here to answer any questions should you have any.
None at this time. Thank you so much. Development Services. Good evening.
Good evening. Sierra James with Development Services. The applicant is requesting to rezone 1.146 acres of land from CN to CG. The parcel is within the urban section of the SR60 Overlay District. The surrounding area is largely occupied by commercial uses along West Brandon Boulevard with residential uses immediately north of the property. The single-family residential homes to the north are separated by approximately 1 acre of county-owned land currently used as a retention pond. The request to rezone would allow for a larger range of commercial uses which would be compatible with the development patterns in the area. Based on these considerations, staff find the proposal approvable.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Planning Commission.
Hello, Terry Crowell, Planning Commission staff. Policy 3.1.3 requires all new developments to be compatible with the surrounding area. The site was previously developed and operated as a Steak and Shake restaurant with a drive-through, parking, and vehicle queuing area. Immediately to the west of the site is a Waffle House with an additional quick service restaurant and auto part shop located further west. To the east, across Lamona Drive or Road, there are several other fast food restaurants. North of the site is a drainage retention pond area owned and maintained by Hillsborough County. South of the site, across West Brandon Boulevard, are various light commercial uses, along with heavy commercial use and a light industrial parcel currently operated as a public storage facility. The proposed rezoning from commercial neighborhood to commercial general meets the intent of FLU Objective 1.1. That's a proposed commercial use is compatible with the surrounding mix of light commercial, restaurant, and service-oriented uses, and will maintain established character, commercial character of the area. Based upon those considerations, Planning Commission staff finds the proposed rezoning consistent with the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in support? Anyone in favor? See no one. Anyone in opposition to this request? No. Ms. Heinrich, anything else?
Nothing further.
Ms. Corbett, anything? Last word from you.
Cami Corbett, nothing further. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Then we'll close rezoning 25-1143 and go to the next case.
Our next item is item D1, PD rezoning 25-0588. The applicant is requesting to rezone property from AS1 and AR to planned development. Tim Lampkin with Development Services will present staff findings after the applicant's presentation.
All right. Is the applicant here? Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Zoning Hearing Officer. My name is Nicole McInnes. I am a land use attorney at the firm Barbas Kramer. My address is 2002 West Cleveland Street for the record. Here today representing D.R. Horton in connection with a rezoning application. The property is located off of Rodine Road. It's about 124 acres. It's east of Balm Riverview Road, west of the Rodine Scrub Nature Preserve, is within the urban service area, the Riverview Community Plan, and the Riverview South Shore Community Planning area. D.R. Horton is requesting 210 single-family detached homes at a density of 1.7 units per acre. This property is in the residential 4 future land use category, requesting a maximum height of 35 feet, a lot size and width minimum of 40 feet. There's also a significant amount of preservation area on this property. The property has nearly 45 acres of xeric preserve area and almost 8 acres of mesic preserve area. We are not requesting any variations at this time, and there are no waivers to the land development code requested. Here's a larger image of our site plan. So Rodine Road is to the south of this project. The large portion of the xeric preserve area is on the north side of the project. The residential is tucked away in the southwest corner, and there's also a large wetland area that goes through the south and the southeast side of the site. The north, east, and west sides are preserve area, and David Smith will go into that next in our presentation. I'm going to turn it over to David with Stearns Weaver Miller. Thank you.
Don't forget to sign in. Good evening.
Good evening. David Smith with Stearns Weaver Miller. I'm a planner with the law firm. As Nicole indicated, this project is essentially isolated on 3 sides by preserves owned by Hillsborough County. It's really the epitome of an infill project because there is no other development abutting it except across Rodine Road. To the north, we have Res 4 and Nature Preserve. Lake Grady is a zoning. The development up there is about 1.32 units per acre, but that is across Lake Grady. It's a single-family development. To our south, we have Res 4 and RP2. They vary in their densities from 2 units to 2.84 to 1 to 5 on a couple of properties. To the east, we have Res 4, Nature Preserve, and on the west, we have Natural Preserve. And looking at the comprehensive plan, this project fits well within the context of the comprehensive plan. It's in the urban service area. Its permitted density is well within and actually below the maximum allowed under the land use category. We have compatibility with all adjacent properties because basically there's a right-of-way dividing us from any other residential development in the area. And when we're consistent with the comp plan as far as general compatibility in the land development code, because we're asking for no variations, we're providing the necessary setbacks, and compatibility plan will be provided for the preserve protection in the development. Looking at the community plans, this is in the Riverview Community Plan. The project is located in the star on the screen. It's in the residential area on Rodine Road. Again, it complies with the Riverview concept map, consistent with the prioritization of natural resources, since we preserve 51.51 acres of significant wildlife habitat and 21.18 acres of environmental wetlands. Achieves harmony between the development and natural environment. Again, this just shows the project in a little bit closer in. We're going to have one gated emergency access along the western boundary, one full access off of Rodine Road, and the 2 arrows show limited purpose easements that were granted quite some time ago, and the county is the beneficiary of both of those access points should they ever need to maintain those environmental lands or some other use. But we're not proposing any development on those access points.
So the property owner on the other side is the county?
Correct. The county owns the property to the north, to the west, and to the east. This just highlights the natural preservation areas. As you can see, the middle of the white area is the development area that's shown on the site plan. The Mesic Preserve is on the southeast corner. The wetland traverses the site on an angle, and the Xeric Preserve is to the north. We meet the preservation requirements for significant wildlife habitat that's laid forth or laid out in the comprehensive plan and the land development code. I'm here to answer any questions, and I'll turn it over to Nicole.
No questions at this time, thank you.
This project has received staff support from both Hillsborough County staff and Planning Commission staff. The density that we are requesting is similar and less than the large single-family PD to the south of Rodine Road. We're not requesting any variations to the land development code, and county staff found that this request approvable. From the Planning Commission's perspective, this project is compatible with the existing development pattern. It's consistent with the comprehensive plan and the community plans in this area, and they also recommended approval. Our development team is here if you have any questions, and thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you, appreciate it. All right, Development Services. Good evening.
Good evening. Tim Lampkin, Development Services. The applicant's requesting a rezoning from AR and AS to PD to allow the development of 210 single-family detached homes on an approximately 124-acre site. The property is located on the north side of Rodine Road. It's approximately 1.84 miles east of Balm River Road intersection. It lies within the urban service area and the boundaries of the Riverview South Shore Community Plan. To the west is vacant land and the Rodine Scrub Nature Preserve. The applicant proposes a 30-foot preserve buffer adjacent to this preserve area, as well as to a xeric preserve on the northern portion of the site. An approximately 42-acre xeric preserve area is also planned on the northern portion, providing substantial setbacks from Lake Grady to the north and Bell Creek to the east. Additionally, a 7.35-acre preserve area is proposed in the southeast corner. Stormwater ponds and preservation areas are integrated within the residential layout. The site will comply with all applicable policies and regulations, including landscaping and buffering requirements. The surrounding area includes similar development directly south across Rodine Road is a PD developed with single-family homes on a minimum of 5,750 square foot lots at a density of approximately 2.84 units per acre. Staff finds the proposal consistent with PD 040978 to the south, which is now largely built out. Based upon the existing development pattern and site considerations, staff finds the request approvable.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Planning Commission.
Good evening, Tyreek Royal, Planning Commission staff. FLU Goal 2, FLU Objective 2.1, in each of their respective policies, establish a future land use map, as well as allowable range of uses for each FLU category. The subject site is within the residential 4 future land use category, which allows for the considerations of up to 4 dwelling units per gross acre. With 124.04 acres, the subject site can be considered for up to 496 dwelling units. The proposal meets the requirements of Objective 2.1, its accompanying policies, and the Res 4 category. Objective 3.2 and Policy 3.2.4 require community plans throughout the county to be consistent with the comprehensive plan. The site is within the limits of the Riverview Community Plan. Goal 2 of this plan requires future development and redevelopment to comply with the adopted Riverview District Concept Map. The proposed development is abiding by the Riverview District Concept Map and is proposing residential within the designated residential area. Additionally, Goal 6 of the community plan prioritizes significance of improved quality, enjoyment, and protection of the Alafai River and other natural resources such as open space. The proposed development is preserving approximately 72.7 acres on the site. Based upon those considerations, Planning Commission staff finds the proposed plan development consistent with the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan, subject to the conditions proposed by the Development Services Department.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone in the room or online that would like to speak in support? Anyone in favor? Seeing no one, anyone in opposition to this request? All right, no one. Ms. Heinrich, anything else?
Nothing further.
All right. Go back to the applicant. You have 5 minutes for rebuttal, if you'd like.
Nothing further. We're available if you have any questions. Thank you.
None at this time. Thank you so much. All right, then with that, we'll close rezoning PD 25-0588 and go to the next case.
Our next application is item D2, PD 25-0680. The applicant is requesting to rezone property from PD 950276 and RSC 9 to Plain Development. James Baker with Development Services will provide staff findings after the applicant's presentation.
All right, is the applicant here? Good evening.
Thank you. Oh, good evening, Hearing Officer Todd Pressman, 200 2nd Avenue South, number 451 in St. Petersburg. This is PD 25-0680. You can see we're located just north of Hillsborough Avenue, more specifically at West Lambright, east of Dale Mabry. This is a project site of 4 separate folios. You can see Lambright running on the right, and you can see the 4 different properties that are included in this project. This is a PD and RSC-9 seeking PD for 1.7 acres for 21 multifamily units. And this is the site plan. I've darkened the 2 areas of structures. The one on the right is an existing structure, and that will remain as is. And then the building envelope on the left, the L, is the proposed multifamily. You can see the access point, and virtually pretty much everything else is parking and buffering. When you look at the zoning of the area, it is quite a mix from multifamily, RMC 20, RSC 9, BPO, CN. So it is a mix quite frequently or significantly throughout all the abutting zoning categories. I think it's important to emphasize the RMC 20, which abuts on one side and is across the street, Glen Avenue, Small Street on the other. Future land use map is all R20 in the entire vicinity. So looking at the vicinity across Glen, which is the small side street, is a significant multifamily, and it continues. Abutting west, multifamily, and abutting south is also multifamily. So we have 2 remaining variations, which really have to do with the shape of the property. It is somewhat of a, it's not a wide property, but it is very deep. Looking at the first variation, asking for 10 feet versus 20 feet of a B buffer. Now, critically, that's a buffer to the vehicular use area. So you have single family, which are next door, and then you have this line, which is seeking the buffer. And this is showing you the vehicular drive area and the single family. So it is in effect a reduction of a buffer, but only to the vehicular drive area. And really, there's only one portion of the multifamily that comes close to the single family property to the south, which as measured here is 40 feet. The rest of the structure is about 100 feet more or less from that property line. The third variation is to allow a 20-foot type B buffer with a 5-foot sidewalk encroachment with trees on 10-foot center. We've increased the planting of trees to a 10-foot center. So this is in this small portion of the plan, as you can see here. And what we're proposing is keeping the 20-foot. It does have a 5-foot sidewalk in it, and you can see the conceptual of the type B buffer. And this is another schematic of it. So you can see 10 feet is actually green, 5 feet sidewalk, but we're still providing the 20 and the shade trees with 10 foot on center with, of course, the fence. So our attempt is to increase the density of the landscaping, still require that buffer area. Now, looking at the Planning Commission comment, they have an interesting comment I haven't seen before, which is policy 2.4.4, which reads as a designated center and connection CNC area. This is well documented in their report. But they note it's to promote focused growth within the USA by encouraging a variety of densities, intensities, and forms of development, which is what I believe we are doing here. I think we are moving towards that goal that the Planning Commission wants. They note in their report that it's the focus on the county's redevelopment and infill efforts to promote residential and commercial choices. We think we are promoting a different type of residential style in the area and encouraging economic growth, which I believe we're doing as well. That being said, on the other hand, there is an exclusion to the CNC policy, which we think we do meet the exclusion. The exclusion is if you're incompatible with or negatively impact the existing development pattern within a 1,000-foot radius. And we believe that it's in conflict with and shows that to be under the zoning code, section 6.01.01, which requires significantly more setback, 2 to 1, the higher you go. So we have 21 units. We're only short 3 units from this policy. If we were to add the 3 units, we would have to go up another level, which would then be a 3rd level, 3rd story, which there are none in the area. It would then have impact on the surrounding multifamily, that's 2-story, which the code recognizes at a pretty significant setback required. So we believe that, number one, that we meet the intent or the desire of the CNC policy, yet at the same time, we believe that the forcing of the issue, the 21 units to 25 units, 3 additional units, would cause incompatibility within 1,000 feet of the project site. At the same time, the Planning Commission does note that we are compatible with the existing development pattern found within the surrounding area at the 2 stories. They note Objective 2.2, future land use categories outline range of permitted land uses allowed in each category. Notes proposal meets intent of Objective 4.4, 4.4.1. New development to be compatible and is consistent. But there are quite a number of other categories or other policies under housing which are not mentioned, which we do believe support this request, which goal number 1, objective 1.1, is support a range of housing options to affordably meet the needs of current and future residents, which is absolutely the case in this area. These would be very nice townhomes for what's referred to sometimes now the missing middle, which would provide home ownership and a different type of housing and home ability for residents in the area. Housing Policy 1.18 encourage a variety of housing types, including single and multifamily missing middle housing, to diversify the housing stock and provide Hillsborough County with more housing options across a range of income levels. And 1.2.6 promote residential infill development within the urban service area through measures not limited to flexible building envelope, which is, I think, one of the elements here in terms of having a flexible building envelope, parking access and setbacks while maintaining safety standards. I think those policies speak to this particular request very strongly. And linking housing and transportation, Objective 1.5, strategically locate housing in conjunction with supportive transportation infrastructure, which there is a HART station well within walking distance, just less than a minute or maybe a minute from the proposed project. So looking over the issues, Planning Commission is saying that we are compatible, not meeting their one critical element of C&C. We believe that not only do we meet that, but we meet their exclusion, and that this would be an outstanding housing product for this particular area. So with that, we appreciate your attention and happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. I noticed that section of the Planning Commission's report as well about the 3 dwelling units and so forth. I picked that up as well. I had a question, and you explained that as to, my question was to you was going to be, why don't you put the 3 units back in? It's a height issue. And is that
the only place that they can go is up.
Yep. And the other question is, the Development Services Department talks about their recommendation not to support this is based on the inability of the site to meet the buffering setback requirements, which I'm assuming are the 2-to-1 setbacks for that additional height for buildings over 20 feet.
Correct. So
right.
yes, we are asking for variations to that, yes.
Okay. And so that kind of puts you in the middle of they would like additional units, but then you can't meet the 2-to-1 setbacks.
Correct. We see it as a conflict between policies and code, quite frankly, which I think you're recognizing.
Understood. All right. And then the staff report, the Development Services staff report talks about variances, which is the 2-to-1, but it's just a part of the PD. It's not an actual variance request. I just want to
Variation
confirm that with you.
Under the PD, yes.
Understood. All right. Those are my only questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Don't forget to sign in. Development Services. Good evening.
James Baker, Development Services. The request is to rezone from Planned Development PD that contains existing one single-family home on folio 31294.0000 and contiguous parcels 31296.000, 31299.000, and 31303.000, and residential single-family conventional RSC 9 to a new PD to develop 21 multifamily townhomes and 1 single-family home. The subject site is located along the south side of West Lambright Street, west of Yorkshire Court, and east of North Himes Avenue in the Egypt Lake community area. In the immediate vicinity is multifamily, single-family, and businesses. Residential uses are located to the north, east, and south, and commercial and business professional offices to the west of the site. There are 3 variances that are being sought. They're primarily dealing with landscaping and buffering, LDC Part 6.06.06. As mentioned earlier, staff has recommended not approvable.
Does that complete your presentation? Okay. Oh, don't go yet. I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. I just want to clarify for the record, your staff report, and I think Mr. Pressman noted this as well, variance, what's labeled variance number 1 is not needed. So I just want to confirm that we're down to 2 plan development variations, which in your staff report would be 2 and 3. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, all right. And then back to my question you heard me ask Mr. Pressman. So the basis for Development Services recommendation not to support the request is based on their inability to meet that 2-to-1 building
Yes.
height setback and also those landscaping buffering
That's correct.
variations, and that's it. All right, thank you so much. That was my question. Planning Commission.
Good evening, Tarek Royal, Planning Commission staff. The subject site has a future land use designation of residential 20, which allows for the consideration of agricultural, residential, neighborhood commercial, office uses, multi-purpose projects, and mixed-use developments. The site is located within a designated cities or connection area, which is intended to promote focused growth within the urban service area by encouraging a variety of densities, intensities, and forms of development, fronting identified connections and within centers, as shown on the Centers and Connections map. The purpose of the Centers and Connection framework is to focus on the county's redevelopment and infill efforts by promoting residential and commercial choices, encouraging economic growth, improving present conditions of infrastructure, and leveraging reinvestment in those areas. In accordance with Flu Policy 2.4.4, considerations of CNC should be given in the review of future land use map amendments and rezoning applications. This policy further states that all new developments or redevelopment shall meet minimum density of 75% of the allowable density of the adopted flu category. The exceptions to this policy are permitted only under specific conditions that must be clearly met to justify a deviation from the minimum density requirement. The applicant submitted a written request for relief from the minimum density requirement. In the request, the applicant cites an unusual configuration of the site, specifically the deep depth and limited width that would not be able to accommodate an additional 3 units. According to the applicant, adding 3 more units would either necessitate increased building height or resort in overcrowded unit placement, which would negatively affect the functionality and livability of the residences. Planning Commission staff have reviewed the applicant's justification and determined that the request does not meet the criteria for the compatibility exception. The proposed townhomes are compatible with the surrounding development and would not adversely impact the existing area. The surrounding area includes townhomes and single-family residences uses, as well as non-residential uses such as a daycare. As such, the compatibility-based exception is not applicable in this case and is not recommended for approval. Additionally, the environmental and agricultural exceptions are also not applicable to the site. While the proposed development of 21 townhomes aligns with the intent of Flu Objective 1.1, it does not satisfy the minimum density requirement established under their Centers and Connections policies. Based upon these considerations, Planning Commission staff finds the proposed plan development inconsistent with the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Roy, let me ask you a couple of follow-up questions along the lines of what I've asked Mr. Pressman. In summary, they're short 3 dwelling units, so they don't meet that minimum density threshold.
That's correct.
Okay, and then second, they applied for relief from that policy. And why was the Planning Commission not supportive of that?
Because, so under Policy 2.4.4, all new developments or redevelopments shall meet minimum density of 75% unless certain criteria. The criteria they mentioned was that the development is not compatible and would adversely impact the existing development pattern. We, as Planning Commission, determined that the site to add an additional 3 dwelling units would not be incompatible. Therefore, they didn't fall under that criteria.
I see. So you believe they have the ability to do it, therefore they don't meet relief from that policy?
Yes.
That's what I needed. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, we'll call for anyone that would like to speak in support. Anyone in favor? Good evening. Give us your name and address.
Hello, my name is Jerry Estevez, and I live at 807 East Florida, Tampa, Florida. And I want to thank you guys all for this evening. It's taken us 3 years to get to this point to be in front of you, and I really want to ask you guys for your support. I live in this community. I'm from this community. I've always lived in this community, and I live in this community now. And I just wanted to say that this isn't just a project for us simply to build houses. It's to build a community and to reset some of the areas that are really falling apart. If you've been in this area, you can see the apartments and all the subdivisions from the 70s and the 80s. We know that housing is one of the greatest challenges facing our city, but by offering affordable housing, this project will give teachers, nurses, young professionals, and retirees a chance to invest back in our community. Right on Lambert, we own a chiropractic office. We have over 20, 30 patients a day, travel nurses. Everyone's looking for housing that's not falling apart, that's going to have a new fridge, it's going to have parking, that's going to feel safe, that's going to have lights. It's an amazing school district to have people come here, and I'm personally committed to something that's not just for the community, but to people to be proud of their homes. We're also focusing that it's not going to just be about building this neighborhood, it's also landscaping, new trees, new shrubberies, new flowers, people feeling pride in their community. If you've been in our area, Lowry Park just redid the entrance of their sign, which was thousands of dollars. Heartline just replaced all the bus stops to be shaded and safe. I mean, we're trying to build this area to be walkable, friendly, affordable, then we have to stand by it. So we've been here trying to do this for 3 years, and I'm really excited to be around, so I really want to thank you guys to see my tax dollars at work. It's the first time I've ever been to a zoning, so I thank everyone for their time. And in closing, I just humbly ask you for your support in approving the zoning challenge. Together, we can transform this vacant, empty, depressing, sad lot into a beautiful home and community that people can afford. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to sign in. Anyone else that would like to speak in support? All right, seeing no one. Anyone in opposition to this request? All right, seeing no one. Ms. Heinrich, anything you want to add?
No, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Pressman, you have the last word. All right, thank you. Then with that, we'll close rezoning 25-0680 and go to the next case.
Our next application is item D3, PD 25-0703. The applicant is requesting to rezone property from ARCN and RC4 to planned development. Chris Granilar with Development Services will present staff findings, and you will also note on the staff report, this is connected to a comprehensive plan amendment. So both that amendment and this rezoning would be heard at the November 13th CPA public hearing before the board.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Is the applicant here? Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you. That's it. Good evening, Ms. Finch. Gina Grimes with the law firm of Bradley, Arent, Bolton, Cummings, 1001 Water Street, Tampa, Florida. And I'm here this evening representing Provident Partners Real Estate on this rezoning application at the northwest corner of Mango Road and Pruitt Road. It's a rezoning request from AR, RSC4, and CN to PD. It's for limited light industrial uses, totaling approximately 189,750 square feet. It's limited to just three principal uses: warehouse, wholesale distribution, and manufacturing, processing, and assembly. There's a potential for open storage, but it would be an accessory use only. The county staff has recommended approval, subject to conditions and approval of the pending comp plan amendment. And the Planning Commission staff has also made a recommendation of consistency with the comprehensive plan, subject to conditions. So here you have an aerial of the subject property. It's north of I-4 in Seffner at the northwest corner of the intersection of Mango Road and Pruitt Road. 6 parcels in total, 6 folios, totaling 15.64 acres. Most of the parcels within the site are undeveloped. One of them has a pasture on it, and it does have a couple abandoned accessory structures. I also just want to note that while it's in the rural service area, not in the urban service area, it is in fact served by county water and sewer due to the proximity of the Taylor Road landfill, and it's been that way for some time. So here's some photos of the subject property. The top photo is the view from Pruitt Road, and the bottom photo is just a view from Mango Road. When you zoom in a little bit closer, you can have a better look at the adjacent uses on the north, south, and the west boundaries. You do have some vacant parcels, and you do have some residential parcels. But I want to direct your attention to the intersection of Mango and Pruitt, because at the other 3 corners of this intersection, you already have a situation where that property has already been zoned for commercial or industrial uses. So just south of the site, just south of the site, I'm trying to use the cursor, just south right here, this property is zoned CG already. It has a church on it. Just to the east of that is a site that's zoned PD for office. And then north of that is a very large site that's now zoned PD for light industrial. So
the zoning map hasn't caught up yet?
Correct.
That
was just done in April, actually. Okay. And actually, my client, Provident Partners Real Estate, they were the applicants for that project as well. They're no longer under contract for that property, and they've decided it's really in their best interest to pursue a smaller project like the one we're proposing this evening on this adjacent site.
And what type of uses are approved for that adjacent to to the
The
PD?
same, light industrial, manufacturing, warehouse, and distribution.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Almost identical, but this site is a very much smaller site with a lower square footage amount. So again, as you can see, all three corners of this intersection have already been approved and zoned for non-residential, commercial, or industrial uses. So going to the details of the site plan, as I said, 189,750 square feet of limited light industrial uses, just those three uses, warehouse, wholesale distribution, manufacturing. The square footage will be in two separate buildings. Again, it's on 15.64 acres. So that's an FAR of 0.285. So that's a relatively low FAR compared to what's permitted in the LIP comp plan category, which is 0.75. So it's far less than half of the permitted square footage is what the proposed FAR is. Okay, because of the proximity of the site to residential uses, we have incorporated significant compatibility measures. And we're doing that in the form of setbacks and buffering and screening. So as you can see, we have fairly large setbacks that we've proposed to incorporate into this project. And in addition to that, we have several buffers and screening which exceed the code requirements. I'll go through those real quickly. We have a 50-foot buffer area on the north and on the west adjacent to residential, which exceeds the code. It only requires a 30-foot buffer area. We are also going to install in the buffer area, the 30-foot buffer area, in addition to the evergreen trees that are required under the Type C screening, we're going to incorporate or plant a second row of buffer trees. So those will be evergreen shade trees, 10 feet high at the time of planting, planted 20 feet off center, and then there will be a second row behind that, staggered, so that it will be almost a continuous line of buffer trees. We also agreed to install a buffer wall on all sides of the project except for the front along Mango. It is not required on all sides, but we are going to install one nonetheless. We do need to ask for a variation to increase the south buffer wall along Pruitt Road from 4 feet to 6 feet. We think that variation is justified because obviously it's going to provide greater buffering for the residential to the south of Pruitt Road. Additionally, we will agree to install what is referred to as screen walls in the event we have open storage in that truck courtyard in between the two buildings. They will extend out from the walls of the building. And then on top of the setbacks and the buffering and the screening, we do have a 2-acre retention pond that is along the entire western boundary of the site adjacent to residential, again, creating additional buffer. And I also want to point out along that western boundary where the residential is the closest, we do have a setback of 190 feet, so it's fairly extensive. In addition to the buffers and the screening, we also have the requirement for an additional height setback. Our proposed height is 54 feet. That calculates to an additional height setback on top of our already extensive setbacks. It calculates to an additional height setback of 68 feet. We meet that requirement on the east side and on the west side. However, on the north and the south sides, we are asking for a reduction, or what's referred to as a request for relief, of 18 feet and 8 feet. 18 feet on the north, 8 feet on the south. And we believe it's justified because, keep in mind, this is an additional setback on top of the already existing setback. And we think the justification is that the reduction in the additional height setback will allow us or give us the flexibility to donate the right-of-way that's needed for the future right-of-way improvement at Mango and Pruitt. We're going to be donating or dedicating 28,530 square feet of right-of-way, almost a half acre of the site. And that will allow us not just to assist with the construction of the intersection improvement, but also install a 10-foot wide sidewalk multi-purpose trail on the west side of Mango Road, and on the north side of Pruitt Road. There are no sidewalks at all in that area, so that would be a big benefit to the area. Transportation improvements. We have full access point from Mango into the site and from Pruitt into the site. The roadway improvements are on both Mango and Pruitt. We will dedicate the additional right-of-way, as I said, almost a half an acre of right-of-way. We're going to widen the travel lanes, add auxiliary lanes, and again, construct that 10-foot multi-purpose trail on the west and the north sides of Mango and Pruitt. And I'll just mention that we are going to construct those improvements in conjunction with working already with the county to accelerate the county CIP-funded project for signalization of the intersection of Pruitt and Mango Road. And that's something that many members of the community are looking forward to. The driveways and the roadway design do require administrative variances and design exceptions. They've been extensively documented by our transportation planner in our application package, and it's also part of the staff report to allow those exceptions, and they've also been determined approvable by the county engineer. So turning to the Planning Commission staff's recommendation, they focused to a great degree on compatibility and FLU Objective 3.1, which requires new development to be designed in a way that's compatible with the established character of the area. And so they suggested 3 of the mitigation measures that we have agreed to. The first is those open storage boundary wings, again, along the northern side of the property, adjacent to the buildings. If there is going to be any open storage in that truck yard, then we are going to be required to extend the walls or wings of the buildings to visually and acoustically shield the accessory temporary open storage. We're also agreed to limit the height of the open storage to 20 feet. And again, as I mentioned earlier, we are agreeing to add that second row of evergreen trees that will provide a more effective barrier from the residential. With all of those mitigation measures, the Planning Commission staff was able to find that the proposed use is compatible with the surrounding area and compatible and consistent with the FLU objectives and policies. So I think it's important for you when you are looking at the compatibility issue to not just look at the adjacent property and what exists there, but it really is important to look at the entire surrounding area. And you'll see from this graphic, and I'll go through very quickly and identify the different uses along Mango Road from I-4 all the way up to the northern terminus of Mango Road, because while it's described in a lot of places as a residential area, the character of this area has changed substantially over time. And when it comes to compatibility, you have to, again, look not just at the residential, but some of the other uses. So on Site 1, starting south, you have an 80-acre RV dealership. You have Site 2 is 2 hotels. Site 3 is a 17-acre truck dealership with open storage. Site 4 is a convenience store, gas stations, and restaurants. Site 5 is a 48-acre RV park. 6 is a 179-acre, 180-acre county landfill site. That's a huge intensive use right there. Site 7 is a 25-acre concrete manufacturing plant. 8 is a 300,000 square feet warehouse distribution facility closer to the site. Site 9 is a yard trash processing facility. Site 10 north of the subject site is a citrus grove and processing. 11 is a truck yard. 12 is a borrow pit. 13 is a 19-acre Florida gas transmission utility facility. And then 14 is a truck terminal. And as you can see, this is at the northern terminus of Mango Road where it intersects with 301. You have a major truck terminal at that northern terminus. And of course, you have those trucks coming up and down the Mango Road.
We've got about 2 minutes left.
Okay. The development trend in the area, not just the existing uses, but the trend during the last 5 years, you had the Board of County Commissioners approving 3 comp plan amendments to categories and uses similar to what we are proposing for the subject property. You had one in 2018 that was a 300,000 square feet warehouse distribution facility, another similar one in 2022. and then the one referred to earlier, which is just east of the site, CPA 2426, to the LIP and rezone to light industrial uses. So we believe our PD site plan with these limited light industrial uses with the lower FAR, with all of the buffer and compatibility measures and the right-of-way dedication, we believe it is a reasonable proposal. And again, no reviewing agencies have objections. All staff recommends approval, subject to conditions. So we are requesting your recommendation approval to the Board of County Commissioners. And then just one other item I want to address quickly is when you ask for proponents, the two owners of the subject property are here to speak. And I just want to point out that these are the portions of the subject property that they own. Ms. Johnson owns the area shaded in blue, and Mr. Grays owns the parcels shaded in red, both of which comprise the subject property. So with that, available for questions if you have any.
No, you covered it. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Don't forget to sign it.
I would like to put into, I'm sorry, one more thing, I'm sorry. Real quick, we do have another letter of support from a Jason Watson at 11461 Pruitt Road, lives across the street. He is in support of the project. He thinks it's the next phase of needed growth, and he's very pleased about the much-needed safety improvements and the traffic signal at Mango and Pruitt. So I'd like to put that into the record, as well as a copy of the PowerPoint.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. We'll go next to Development Services. Good evening.
Good evening. Chris Groundlenar, Development Services. This is a request to rezone approximately 15.32 acres in the Thonona-Sassa Community Plan area from AR, RSC4, and CN to planned development. The proposed use includes light industrial activities, specifically warehousing, wholesale distribution, accessory open storage, and manufacturing or assembly. The site is currently designated Residential 1 and Residential 4 on the future land use map. A companion comprehensive plan amendment has been submitted to change the future land use designation to light industrial planned. The area consists of single-family residential, institutional, and light industrial. Adjacent to the north is single-family residential zoned AS1 and RSC4. To the east across Mango Road is light industrial zone PD. Adjacent to the west is single-family residential zoned AS1 and vacant zoned AR. To the south across Pruitt Road is a church zone CG and a single-family residential zoned AS1. The proposed PD allows for a maximum floor area ratio of 0.285 and a maximum building area of 189,750 square feet. The applicant has committed to a maximum height of 20 feet for any accessory open storage. To address compatibility with adjacent residential uses, the applicant is providing a 50-foot type C buffer with a stormwater pond along the north and west, and our second row of evergreen trees to enhance visual screening. Also a 30-foot type C buffer along the southern boundary. And also the applicant is proposing open storage screening boundary wings along the northern and southern boundary of the proposed buildings. Staff recommends approval subject to the adoption of the comp plan amendment and the conditions outlined in the staff report. I'm available for any questions.
Just one thing minor, I went over this with Ms. Grimes. It looks like the zoning map hasn't quite caught up with the adjacent properties to the east. So that is zoned PD for those.
Yes, it is. It was updated prior to our maps changing. Yeah.
I see. That was it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Planning Commission.
Good evening, Terry Crowell, Planning Commission staff. The subject site has a future land use designation of Residential 1 and Residential 4. Res 1 future land use category allows for consideration of agricultural, farms, ranches, residential, neighborhood commercial, office, and multi-purpose projects. The Res 4 future land use category allows for the consideration of agricultural, residential, neighborhood commercial, office uses, and multi-purpose projects. This rezoning is concurrent with the pending comprehensive plan map amendment to change the future land use designation from to light industrial plan. This request for a plan development is considered concurrent and dependent on the approval of HCCPA 2510. The analysis provided is based on the pending LIP future land use category. The LIP category is intended for potentially suitable industrial activities where are located outside of concentrated industrial designated areas or within areas in need for a site plan, which would be beneficial to ensure land use compatibility. Industrial uses are permitted within the LIP category. The maximum floor area ratio permitted within the LIP is 0.75. Given that the site is 15.32 acres, the maximum allowable square feet that may be considered for the site would be approximately 500,000 square feet. The collective total square footage of all allowable uses on the site is approximately 189,000 square feet, which is well within the permitted development threshold for this property. The proposed uses included in this request are consistent with the intent and typical uses of the LIP designation. Therefore, the proposal meets Objective 2.2 and its associated policies. The most recent site plan uploaded into Optics on August 27, 2025 includes a proposed 2.22 acre retention pond located on the western portion of the site. This feature would serve as a buffer between the proposed development and the adjacent residential uses to the west, which is consistent with Flu Policy 4.4.1 direction that relates to mitigating for adverse development impacts. Based upon these considerations, Planning Commission staff finds that the proposed plan development is consistent with the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan, subject to the conditions set by Development Services. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone in the room or online that would like to speak in support? Anyone in favor? How many people would like to speak? 2? Raise your hand. Okay, go ahead and come forward. All right. Good evening. You have 15 minutes between the two of you, so Jennifer, you just set it for 7.5, but I don't think we'll have a problem. If you give us your name and address to start.
Good evening. My name is Rosabelle Ghost Johnson. My mother purchased this particular property in the middle 1930s, and I inherited from her, of course, when she passed away, and I have lived off and on most of my life at this location. When my mother first bought it, of course, it was just ag, which meant orange groves mostly, and what have you. And of course, as time progressed, things did start to change a little bit, but then as time progressed, it changed a little bit more, usually including buildings that was considered business, for business per se. After all these years, there is no more farming, of course, agriculture around that area, period. And therefore, I support the project, the rezoning of the project. I think it will add a good bit to the area that was once an agricultural location. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you could please sign in. Next, please. Good evening. Good evening. Yes. Give us your name and address.
Yes. Good afternoon. My name is Freeman Graves Jr. I reside at 2501 Pemberton Creek Drive out in Sefner. Over the years, my family has owned the property on the corner of Mango Road and Pruitt Road for the last 80 years. And over the years, I watched this area change from farmland, agriculture, to gradually it shifted over to commercial usages. Really, the area is prime for residential developments because of the increased changes in the area. During the first presentation, all of the businesses that was located from I-4 to the intersection of Pruitt Road and 579, I just kind of like to emphasize just how those businesses relate to Pruitt Road and 579. Within 3/4 of a mile of that intersection of Pruitt and 579, we have the Lazy Days, Flying J, Travel America, Bob Evans, 2 hotels, the Hillsborough County trash drop-off location for residents, a service station, and also a Ford dealership. And within 1/4 mile of 579 and Pruitt Road, we have the large Amazon warehouse, and also have the large concrete processing plant. And within 1/3 of a mile, we have 2 large mulch processing facilities and the septic tank processing facility. And over the years, while I'm eager to see the change in the area, we've had much illegal dumping, many borrowed pets, and the famous Taylor Road Civic Association, which we was always involved in opposing those facilities, but it seemed like we always came up on the short end of the stick on that, and hopefully this will be a little different. We believe just allowing this change to move forward, it'll increase the value of the area and the properties, and we're all in favor of it. And I want to just thank you all for allowing me to share my perspective on this matter. Thank you very much.
I appreciate your time. If you could please sign in. Anyone else to speak in support? All right, seeing no one, is there anyone in opposition that would like to speak? No one online. All right, seeing no one. Mr. Perez, let me just ask you, I saw on the backup your transportation analysis that there is a decrease in the average daily trips when comparing the current zoning to this proposal. I just wanted to confirm that with you on the record.
Yes, Madam Zoning Hearing Master, that is correct. The current zoning entitlements include commercial neighborhood, which does allow for a substantial amount of commercial retail that could be constructed under the existing zoning. With the proposed development and what they're projecting for trip generation from that development, it is an overall decrease.
All right, thank you so much. Ms. Heinrich, anything you want to add before we move on?
I would just add, I know that you were inquiring about the PD to the east, and I see that our GIS has caught up.
Oh, it is there now.
It
Okay.
is there now, and if you need the number, it's 241135.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. 241135. Thank you. All right. And that was it. That was your only comment? Perfect. All right, then Ms. Grimes, we'll go back to you. You have 5 minutes for rebuttal if you'd like it.
I have nothing further.
All right, thank you for that. Then with that, we'll close rezoning 25-0703 and go to the next case.
Our next item is item D4, PD 25-0919. The applicant is requesting to rezone property from ASC 1 and RSC 2 to planned development. Jared Follen with Development Services will present staff findings, and also after Jared speaks, from Transportation Review, James Ratliff has information to share with you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sorry, it's the other one.
Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Hearing Officer. As a housekeeping matter, I spoke to Mr. Ratliff, and what he's going to describe to you is sort of a big picture view that might be more appropriate to go before the applicant's presentation. If you would allow that, we thought it would make more sense.
If you think it'd be helpful, sure, absolutely. Mr. Ratliff. Good evening.
Good evening. And actually, I'm going to have to switch out presentations real quick. I'll just minimize this one
And I think mine is hopefully here. Yeah. All right, for the record, James Ratliff, Transportation Review Section. I wanted to take a couple of minutes to provide an overview of some of the area projects and review how this PD that we're here to talk about tonight fits within that overall plan. Current efforts began back in 2017 or 2018, I believe, where the planning and coordination for this particular vision kind of kicked off. For these alternative infrastructure alignments, the first project to gain approval was actually PD 22-461, and it was this zoning that sort of outlines the overall infrastructure plan for the area. Although I would note that there are multiple projects that are required to make certain improvements and dedicate right-of-way, all of which are critical in order to kind of have this ultimate infrastructure plan come to fruition. Including the County Parks Department, there's land that's required from them as well in order to accommodate the Old Big Bend Road realignment. So the larger project and this larger infrastructure project solves two problems, really. First, we've heard a lot of feedback about the desire to reopen the northern leg of the Simmons Road and Big Bend Road intersection, which was previously closed due to unsafe conditions and operational issues. This reopening would increase accessibility and decrease area travel times, but it's also consistent with the Hillsborough County Corridor Preservation Plan and the future planned roadway network. Secondly, the existing infrastructure cannot safely accommodate the increased traffic from all of these area redevelopments. For example, in the staff report, you'll notice discussion and some photographs representing existing conditions on Lincoln Road at the existing intersection of Old Big Bend Road. So, and without the improvements that are being proposed in this overall plan, but also with the project that we're here to discuss tonight, we could not kind of unlock the full potential of area redevelopment. I should also note that there's a Mufasa that's being heard concurrently regarding this at the BOCC hearing for this project. So as you can see here, the ultimate plan is to reconstruct and extend Simmons Road to the north and reroute Old Big Bend Road up and away from its current location so that sufficient stacking distance at these intersections can be achieved. So that those intersections and other adjacent intersections can operate safely and efficiently. The next project that was approved is 240676, and I would point out that I did place the PD site plan and approved conditions for the 22 case as well as this 24 case in the record just for reference. So this particular project was required to preserve and dedicate right-of-way, construct and reconstruct a portion of Simmons Road, as well as an interim turn lane improvement over on Lincoln. The subject 250919 that we're here to talk about tonight is going to be constructing some additional improvements as well as shown here. This is similarly a small piece, but a very important piece of this much larger puzzle. The Lincoln Road improvements together with the portion of the old realigned Old Big Bend Road, I'm not sure if the mouse is showing up, I think it is. So this east-west portion of the Old Big Bend Road, realigned road here, and removing a segment of the existing Old Big Bend Road will also require construction of an interim north-south facility right here to allow traffic to be rerouted from its existing pattern. So each of these zonings essentially have been designed to stand alone to a certain extent, and they're able to move forward with either all or a portion of their entitlements. The project that we're here to talk about tonight, 919, has been designed so that this project can proceed forward with its entitlements and required improvements independent of the timing of those other projects. So each piece sort of fits within the jigsaw puzzle. These next slides just sort of show how some additional detail for context. Again, these improvements on Simmons Road are not a requirement of this PD, but again, just for reference in case anybody wants to know exactly how this fits into the overall picture. And finally, again, an up-close view of the improvements that this PD is required to make and sort of how that fits into the overall area. So I'll let the staff report speak to the specifics on its own, but I'm here to answer any questions if you have them.
No, I appreciate the explanation. Thank you so much. Appreciate
Certainly. And just, I guess, a quick question. Would you like zoning to come up and give their presentation, or would you rather have the zoning
No, we'll go back to our
regular order?
Otherwise, we get out of
Sounds good. And let me get her presentation back up here. There you go.
Good evening. Again, for the record, Elise Batzel, Stearns Weaver Miller, 401 East Jackson Street. I do have documents to submit to the record. I have included in here the hearing presentation, also an updated site plan. There were a number of changes that are listed in the staff report. This was not at your record, but it might help you visually see the changes, so we did submit that just for your information, as well as a number of documents that relate to prior BOCC approvals that led to what you're seeing today with this rezoning, if I may.
Okay. Thank you.
So James did a great job doing my job for me with the big picture, so I'm going to skip over these initial slides. I do want to say, and pause briefly, it takes a lot for 4 different developers to end up at the same time in the same place of development and be able to work with the county. And so as you can see here, this is sort of an act of God, so to speak, that we're all here at the same time, at least in close proximity, to be able to build these developments, but also to construct a right-of-way that provides capacity over and above what the developments are impacting. Uh-oh. We're stuck. Oh, there we go. This specific piece is 4.5 acres. It's located at the northwest quadrant of Lincoln Road and Big Bend Road. It is within the urban service area, and it's also within the Riverview Community Plan. The current zoning on the property is a split zoning between ASC 1 and RSC 6, and it has a future land use designation of UMU 20. Here's the project up close. Really, while all of the transportation issues are complicated, the rezoning itself is quite simple. It is for 2 sit-down restaurants totaling 14,500 square feet. One of them is 9,000 square feet, and one is 5,500 square feet. And just to give you the timing of these improvements and to show them a little clearer with color, the old Big Bend Road will be rerouted to the north in that area that you see in green along the western boundary of this PD property. It will also be rerouted along the north, that's the east-west section, and then an area of property that is owned by Hillsborough County. You may have noted that Hillsborough County is a co-applicant in this application. That will be, upon acceptance of the right-of-way by the county, that will be vacated. And finally, we will do improvements and rebuild Lincoln Road. The surrounding uses to the north are single-family residential, but you'll note that it's set back across parking and the roadway and stormwater, so there's a natural buffer and separation there. To the west is an approved project, an approved residential and commercial project, which is quite intense. You probably saw it. It's the Camden project. I think it's almost 1,000 units. To the east is an existing Aldi shopping center, and to the south are various commercial and hospital uses. Consistency and compatibility is set forth very well in your staff report. Both Development Services and the Planning Commission have found the project is consistent with the comprehensive plan in a number of goals, policies, and objectives, and is also compatible with the surrounding development. Again, this request is really straightforward, and any complications are really related to the transportation network. I did submit into your record, just for entertainment purposes, some of the Facebook posts from this project. Normally, we get lots of negativity on social media, and it was so positive, it was unbelievable. People are dying for a sit-down restaurant there. So I thought I would include those for your reading entertainment.
And I do see, I was looking in the conditions while you were talking to see the timing of those improvements, and it looks like you have to have, you can't have a CO issued until the improvements are done. Is that accurate?
Correct, and it's important to note too, let me just go back 1 second to one of the slides. So it is important to note that this particular project, the transportation study, shows that independent of any of the other roadway improvements for other developers, this project provides a greater benefit to the community on its own, standalone. And Steve Henry is here if you have specifics about that transportation analysis and the overall community benefit.
I don't have specifics, but thank you. Appreciate
Thank you
it.
very
Does
much.
that
for
conclude
your
your presentation?
That concludes our
All right,
presentation.
thank you so much. Please sign
Thank
in.
you.
Development Services. Good evening.
Good evening, Jared Fallon with Development Services. So this is a request to rezone a 4.5 acre parcel from ASC1 and RSC2 to a planned development to allow the development of 2 sit-down restaurants. This application also seeks to dedicate land along the north side of the property for a reroute of Old Big Bend Road. And the area to the south, which is currently Old Big Bend Road right-of-way, is to be vacated under application V22-0012 and will run concurrently with this rezoning request. The subject site is generally located at 13117 Lincoln Road, just north of Big Bend Road in the Riverview area. The surrounding area is comprised of a mixture of uses, but is primarily commercial. Adjacent to the east and the area to the south, commercial is the primary use, which includes uses such as grocery stores, restaurants, offices, hospitals, and general retail. Adjacent to the west is a large undeveloped property zone PD, which permits medical type uses and multifamily. The area to the north of the subject site, including adjacent, is primarily comprised of residential single-family uses. The development will be allowed to develop up to 14,500 square feet for 2 restaurants. These restaurants are restricted to be sit-down only, and drive-throughs will be prohibited. The site plan depicts 2 buildings footprints, one 9,000 square feet and the other 5,500 square feet. And the max height of the development will be 35 feet. Development Services does not have any compatibility concerns with the proposed planned development. The area is appropriate for commercial development and no adverse impacts to the surrounding area are expected. We find the application approvable, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
And none at this time. Thank you so much. Planning Commission.
Good evening, Tarek Roll, Planning Commission staff. The proposed sit-down restaurant use is compatible with the existing character and density of the surrounding area, which includes multiple light and heavy commercial uses. Furthermore, the development proposal includes a lower intensity to keep building massing and scale compatible with existing single-family homes to the north of the site, as well as a retention pond and realignment of Old Bend Road. The retention pond and proposed road along the north of the site will provide an additional buffering and separation between the proposed commercial use and the existing single-family residences. Additionally, the proposal meets intent of neighborhood protection policies in the future land use section under FLU Objective 4.4 and Policy 4.4.1 that requires new development to be compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. The proposed rezoning is compatible with the surrounding area. Based upon those considerations, Planning Commission staff finds the proposed plan development consistent with the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan, subject to the conditions proposed by the Development Services. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Is there anyone in the room or online that would like to speak in support? Anyone in favor? Seeing no one, anyone in opposition to this request? No one. Ms. Heinrich, anything you want to add?
Just to remind you that the site plan that needs to be utilized for this review is the one that was submitted on 8/26. I understand why the applicant submitted a clean version, but just so you know that.
That's the one that conditions will be based on?
Yes.
8/26. Okay, perfect. Is this it? Yeah. All right, thank you for that clarification. Ms. Batzel, you have 5 minutes for rebuttal if you'd like it.
Nothing further, Madam Hearing Master. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, then we will close rezoning 25-0919 and go to the next case.
Our next application is item D5, Major Mod 25-0920. The applicant is requesting a major modification to PD 21-0560. Sam Ball with Development Services will present staff findings after the applicant's presentation.
Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Hearing Officer. My name is Charles Davis, 100 South Ashley Drive of the law firm of Phelps Dunbar. On behalf of the applicant, JP Morgan Chase Bank National Association, I'm here with our team from JP Morgan Chase, Ryan Companies, and Bowler Engineering. We are excited that JP Morgan Chase is further investing in and committing to Hillsborough County by improving its existing office campus through the proposed construction of a parking deck facility on this property, which is currently vacant and is surrounded by a corporate office campus to the east and south, which is in its own plan development, as well as residential family properties to the north and west. This parking deck will solely serve the adjacent JP Morgan Chase office campus with a maximum of 1,800 parking spaces within the already permitted 50-foot height maximum. This application again seeks to modify the existing plan development that currently provides for 97 multifamily units at a maximum height again of 50 feet in order to permit this desired parking garage. So this is the currently approved site plan, and this is the proposed one. The applicant requests one variation as to the 300-foot off-site parking requirement, to which the county staff has no objection. The applicant's minor modification, PRS 25-0918, was approved by the County Commission on the 10th of this month, which modified the existing plan development for the office campus to enable traffic ingress and egress for this parking facility to be solely contained within the JP Morgan Chase office campus. So as you can see here, we have the parking deck facility that goes through the applicant's surface lot parking space and exits onto Highland Manor Drive, whereas before the currently approved development for the multifamily property exited onto Bryan Road. So this will enable traffic flows to the parking deck to be managed, like I said, internally through the office campus rather than through the existing neighborhood, with the caveat that there will be a gated emergency access only entrance from the surface lot parcel to Bryan Road. We are glad to have staff's full support here in terms of consistency and recommended approval, and we appreciate their hard work on this project. Therefore, we respectfully request your approval and are happy to answer any questions.
Just a quick one, just so I understand the plan development variation that you're asking for.
Yes.
It looks from the wording of it that you might be close. Well, let me ask, it's a requirement that the parking be within 300 feet of the entrance of the structure. That's a code requirement you're asking?
Yes, yes, Madam Hearing
And so
Officer.
if you know approximately, how far is this away?
It's close. It's in some measurements that we've seen, it's within 300 feet, but it's close enough that we wanted to submit that in an abundance of caution.
I appreciate it. All right, that was my only question. Thank you
Okay,
so much.
thank you.
Development Services. Good evening.
Good evening, Sam Ball with Hillsborough County Development Services. The applicant is requesting a major modification to PD 21560 to allow a 4.9 acre property located along the north side of Bryan Road to be developed as a 4-story parking facility of up to 1,800 spaces. The proposed modifications also include a new shared access connection to the adjoining property to the east, removing the Ellen Avenue and Bryan Road vehicular access points, and including a pedestrian access approved the PRS 25918 was approved on September 9th to allow for shared access between the property to the subject property and property to the east, as long as they're developed for light uses, that shared access would be required. The applicant requested a variation to parking, which would allow the spaces in the parking garage to be used to meet parking requirements of any future development on the adjoining office campus to the south and east. Because of this direct access from the proposed parking facility to the office campus and the developer's commitment to provide safe, direct, attractive, lighted, and convenient pedestrian routes, resident and it was more facility put right between the and the residential from but way application for multi-family and off. Pattern approval.
None. Commission.
One. Uses the collective total square footage of allowable uses on the site is approximately 149,000 square feet, which is well within the permitted development threshold for this property. The proposed use is consistent with the allowable uses within the category and aligns with Objective 2.2 and its associated policies. The site is within the limits of the East Lake Orient Park Community Plan. The vision of the community plan is to ensure that all new developments do not adversely impact the existing neighborhoods. The proposal ensures that access to the parking facility will remain within the existing business campus with no access from Aline Avenue and a local road adjacent to single-family residential. The community plan's economic goal also states that it wishes to protect existing industrial uses. The proposal meets the intent of the vision of the community plan. Based on these considerations, Planning Commission staff finds that the proposed major modification is consistent with unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Is there anyone in the room or online that would like to speak?
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Is there anyone in the room or online that would like to speak in support? Anyone in favor? No one. Anyone in opposition to this request? All right, Ms. Heinrich? Anything?
Nothing.
All right. Have the
Thank
you. Modification. Go to the last case.
Our major 25. James service that staff find after
The subject is U.S. well, largely zoning a, and then there's and industrial. If this site looks familiar to some people, this is the location of the Dallas Bowl. The side of this property that did rezoning in red area. Side by on the left is B 50 were open store 20. Overall, the total FAR in the PD is 0.28. We are asking for a PD variation to landscape and buffering and screening, specifically to 2 residential parcels to the west. And we're asking for a 10-foot type C where the existing PD has a 20-foot type B currently required. As staff notes in their report, there's existing dense vegetation that will remain, and the applicant will be providing a 6-foot masonry wall to support the request for the PD variation. I'll also note that there's an existing 10-foot private drive property in between the residential and the industrial property. And this aerial shows you that existing vegetation. You can also see the line. And although they're in use for residential, given the surrounding development pattern, you can see it abuts up against that CI directly to the south. It's very unlikely that these would remain in residential use. They're not homesteaded, they're owned by a corporation, so there may be individuals living there, but they're transient and they're not permanent residents there.
And I just wanted to make sure that just for the future.
Sure.
All right, but that was it. Very much just for the future.
Sure.
All right, but that was it. Very minor.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to sign in. Development Services.
Good evening, James Baker, Development. PR minus proposed floor area ratio is 0.35.
Opportunities for business growth and provide additional jobs while preserving the existing community character. The proposed development meets the intent of the economic development goal of the East Lake Orient Park Community Plan. Based upon these considerations, Planning Commission staff finds that the proposed major modification is consistent with the unincorporated Hillsborough County Conservation Plan. Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Is there anyone in the room or online that would like to testify in support? Anyone in favor? Seeing no one, anyone in opposition? All right, Ms. Heinrich, anything else?
No, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Corbett, you have the last word if you'd like it.
Cami Corbett again. So speaking with our civil engineer, Michael Sanders, he indicated that this general area was known as Rivergate, and so we think that that Rivergate just kind of got added as when people were naming their PDs, like what do we call this and what do we put it on the PD plan? So I think they called it Rivergate. It has no significance. I think you could just call them parcel 2A and 2B of this PD, and that would be fine.
And strike the 2A that's after Rivergate. So, because it looks like 2-1
Right.
and 2-2
Right.
clearly delineate that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I think that would be
Thank you.
fine.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, that's
All right.
good.
Then with that, we'll close major modification 25-0933 and adjourn the hearing. Thank you all for your time and testimony.